Okay, so
Grundy.
Cyberpunk came out, or CD Projekt Red came out, and they had a little kind of stream that they did to show off more Cyberpunk 2077. And we got a few announcements from that. Kind of reignited my hype for this game, to be fair. I'm very excited. They showed off some of the elements of the game, and they had, even though the game delayed back to November, and here's what I think about that. Because the game was set for September, but consoles come out in November, right, Shawn?
Yep.
So,
well, thus far the dates are still tentative.
well, we think it's definitely going to be around Christmas time. I don't know why they wouldn't do it that way.
I think Sony's probably going to be late. I think Sony's going to be December.
But
that's my
new
guess.
consoles come out, game gets delayed, but immediately after that announcement, they say that they're going to have people playing and talking about the first 5 hours of the game. So I think we're at a phase where this game's like probably right on the edge of being gold. But Sony and Microsoft came running to them. Hey, wait till the new consoles come out. And they're like, okay, I think that might be a possibility. And there's no confirming it. We have no idea. But
just be doing the upgrade patch for the new.
Yeah,
we'll be working on that for the new systems.
Yeah, so I say if the game's done, just drop it on PC and fuck console players. But hey,
I would have no problem with it coming out on PC early. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, so but we just have to wait. If they are truly sitting there and ironing out stuff like they said they were, then that's completely fine. I don't know if they're ironing out the base game or ironing out the upgrade patch, but it's whatever. But they came out and showed off some of the game, and also they've had people coming out and talking about their impressions with the first 5 hours. So I figured we'd talk about that for a bit because I'm really excited to play this game. I enjoy Cyberpunk as a genre a lot. It might be one of my favorite to exist, like in fiction narratives and stuff. I love that stuff. And
you already know it's my favorite.
Yeah, and so a few things. First of all, they came out and they basically said that they were collaborating with Trigger, which, for those of you who do not know, they are an anime studio. They produce animation. And some of the animes they've worked on were Kill La Kill.
Great one.
Gurren Lagann.
Another great one. Really?
But I'm thinking, but I Googled Trigger and it gave me a small device that releases a spring or catch that sets off a mechanism. Fuck you. A Trigger Studio. Kill La Kill, Space Patrol Luluco, which is pretty good. Kisniver, Little Witch Academia, Darling in the Franxx, Gridman. They did Little Witch Academia movies and Promare, which I heard was actually pretty good. I never saw. And yeah, so they worked on a lot of shows. They worked on the cutscenes for
their animation is good shit.
Yeah, they worked on the cutscenes for Shantae, like a Shantae game, and Indivisible. They also worked like way back in the day. They worked on the cutscenes for. It was like an opening to like a Capcom game where it showed all them like fighting together. That was done by Trigger, or at least one of the key studio animators at Trigger. But yeah, so they're going to be working on a Cyberpunk game, which sounds cool as shit. It's coming to Netflix in 2021 or no 2022, so it's a ways off. So they're probably in early production and stuff like that. It's being directed by the dude that directed Kill La Kill and Gurren Lagann. And the music is being done by the composer, what's their name? Akira Yamaoka, who is the composer for the Silent Hill OST. But they also worked on a Snatcher visual novel in the 90s with Kojima and Konami. So, pretty exciting stuff. I have faith in Trigger as a studio. And hopefully, since they're working with CD Projekt Red, they'll probably have someone from Projekt Red that'll be sitting in there to give them a good enough idea of what they want the show to look like. So I think, because Trigger, they kind of go crazy with the energy in their animation, and I don't know how well that will service the Cyberpunk show, but the key visual that they showed when they announced it looked really nice, so the character designs look cool. I'm just interested to see what they do. They also have a comic series coming out called Trauma Team, and it follows the Trauma Team, and that's just like a more western like comic book style. So they have a bunch of like additional content they're throwing out that exists in the same world, and confirmed a long ass time ago that they were going to continue making Cyberpunk games after this one, and we'll continue to see like extended universe media and stuff for it. So this was definitely coming at some point. I just didn't expect an anime with Trigger. I think that's fucking cool. So hopefully it turns out well. We have a year and a half until that shit even drops, but that's exciting. It's coming to Netflix, sure, because Netflix just sucks everything into their fat gut. But they showed off the game, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about what they showed, and then about what people have been talking about with the game. And nothing too crazy. There's no major spoilers, but just kind of like how the game starts. So if that's not interesting I won't go too deep into that then. So I don't want, it's for people that don't want anything talked about whatsoever about it, then I won't mention that. But they showed off what's it called? Brain Dance, which is a mechanic that's existed in the tabletop games for ages, right? It's been around for a while, Shawn.
Yeah.
Brain Dance.
It's what, Brain Dance or the game?
Brain Dance.
I played Cyberpunk.
The tabletop. Was Brain Dance in the tabletop game? The tabletop RPG. Okay, that's all I wanted to know. So, because people have been like, oh, it just looks like Batman Detective Mode. It's like, bitch, this has been out before that shit. It's just they're showing it in the game finally. But so Brain Dance.
Also had drugs that would do that would cause your perceptions to change.
Okay.
And you can do shit like that.
Yeah, so Brain Dance, they showed off a bit. It looks like a Batman Detective Mode pretty much. Like you'll get to review a scene, see it from multiple angles, see it from a first person or third person perspective. There'd be like different layers from like audio, normal, thermal layers, and you could kind of figure out what's going on in the story. They also mentioned they'd be telling certain stories through this like certain elements of stories through this oh my god, this gameplay style. And it could and they said it touched on anything from like child trauma to addictions and all that other stuff. So it'd be kind of cool if you jump into someone or you do a brain dance with someone, and since a lot of it is through what the chip is reading in their head, like if someone is on something like psycho drugs, or they're on some kind of, you go to like this crazy fucking trip or something, that'd be like a really cool sequence that they do. Like you're going through someone's brain dance and there's like all this shit going on because they were high at the time that it was recorded or stuff like that. I think that would be pretty cool. They did that in what was that horror game that was Cyberpunk? Observer had an element like that where when you actually like jack into people's brains to see what happened before they died, and there was one that was on drugs, and the whole thing was like a really bad trip, and that's their final moments before they passed because they overdosed. It was pretty cool.
Even the ones that weren't on drugs, it was all like in that game. It wasn't like Cyberpunk. In that game, you saw a metaphor of what they went through before they died. Like it's fucking weird.
Yeah, and a lot of
I think a lot of it's just done for ambiance, but the intended idea was basically you were seeing what flashed before their eyes, like all these snippets of thoughts expanded on, like, so you're going through like when one guy died, he like for the tiniest of seconds he remembered doing a drug delivery run. So you go through this nightmarish hallways trying to find your, sometimes trying to escape from a fucking monster of some kind, because I don't know what that was supposed to represent, but he's dropping off drugs at various doorsteps, and then he comes home, and then he gets murdered, and then his girlfriend runs, and then you jack into her to see her fucking escape run. But it's all very like disjointed and nightmarish and whatnot. Whereas what the Cyberpunk thing is doing is it's extrapolating all of the data.
Yeah, it's almost like CCTV.
Combined with and then it does a what if kind of scenario, and it plays out some of the different possibilities how things might have gone down. So it's like, okay, well, judging by this, it looks like this was here, then they were here, they were standing this way, they must have fired this direction, and then maybe nope, two guns, because there's something, and there's rounds over here and rounds over here, which meant there was probably two opponents standing here and here. So let's CG this shit and see how it looked, and then it would have give you a visual representation of what it just figured out. I don't know. In the game, it looks more like what they were fucking doing in Night, which was Batman Hocus Pocus-3. All right, the bullet came from there. So, all right, there I see it. Like,
yeah.
you know, because Batman can do that shit. Cyberpunk was more just extrapolating data. It's a lot like more high-tech version of what the CSI people do now.
Yeah, but they showed off a bit of that. They had a trailer showing like some of the, because they've already talked about this, but there's like different starts in the game, so you can kind of pick how your story as your character, because that's one big thing about especially tabletop games is it's all about your story to a degree, and then how the whoever's running the campaign, what they lay in front of you, and then you can make your own choice as you go. Roll dice to see how well you actually did or didn't do it, but that they kind of bake that into this game. You can kind of pick how you want your story to go. Now, it is a character you customize yourself and you put into this world, but you're also choosing where they come from, like their origin, and how you want that story to play out. So it's not as much as an empty slate that's thrown into a world, say like Skyrim or Fallout. It's more like your character has a purpose and exists in this world and makes impact on this world even before you take control of them. So they feel more natural. Yeah, they have a history in the world. They have a lore in this world before you get your hands on them. So they feel more like natural to that world instead of your 6 foot tall, huge fucking nose Skyrim character that Fuzor people off cliffs and stuff.
This is what I've been saying they should be doing with games forever. And this is why I've been saying it, because the Artel Saurian games and some other tabletop games would have a system. Now, in D&D, you just would work together with the GM to decide who your character is, where they're from, what their goals are, etc. You build that before you start playing the game with the DM, but you just make it up as you go along, and then they give you approval if it's anything particularly out there. Like if you wanted to say, oh, well, I'm a chosen of this god, then the DM would be like, well, no, that because that gives you advantages, it just aren't fair. And then you could be like, well, I'm a chosen of the god, but that god acts more like Crumb, where they don't give a fuck about me. They just watch what I'm doing and occasionally might give me a little hint like, fucking fight harder, pussy. Something like that. And then your DM might be like, all right, that's cool. I'll let that slide. Because you just make your character up from the ground up. In Cyberpunk and in MechWarrior, you do not have full control over it. You'll roll. Now, obviously, some GMs, some game masters for Cyberpunk can run it however they want. They might just give you a brain to make up whoever you are. But there's an optional set of rules for Artel Saurian where you can sit there and roll dice to see what happened in your history. Because if you think about it, we have no control over what happened in our history. Like if we started from now and one of our parents died in a car accident when we were 6, that would affect how we grew up. That would affect the person we became.
Yeah.
So it's like a challenge for the player. Like, oh shit, you just rolled that there was a family tragedy when you were 8. And then you're like, all right, my house burned down, or all right, they died or the GM makes it up and says your parents died in a drug run. They were they were running drugs to try and support you.
Oh no, I have a debilitating crack addiction.
Yeah, you can roll shit up like that. You can roll up flaws.
Yeah.
You can roll up merits. You can roll up like different, like usually the way it worked with most role-playing tabletop games, if you were rolling up some of that random element in your history, is you would have a choice in some things and roll for other things. Or you would roll for something and then you could kind of mold what it was once you knew it. So if you knew a parent died, maybe you were given the liberty to choose how.
Yeah.
Different things like that. But I like that system particularly because it makes you, it kind of forces you to be even more creative, because now you've got these challenges in front of you. And since tabletop role playing is very much improvisational acting, combined with like strategic choices and obviously a lot of things that you see in normal role playing games, gearing up and grinding out stuff and saving up experience so you can get cool skills and badass rides and shit. But a lot of it is convincingly becoming that character. So what's exciting about Cyberpunk is, yes, you get to design your character, but you're designing
their pubic hair.
Yeah,
pubic hair options.
A person that by the time you're done has existed in this world, has already had an impact in this world, has friends and family and a job of some kind. So it's as if they're a scripted character before you picked it up. It just so happens that CD Projekt Red allowed you to take part in that scripting.
Yeah.
And that I very much appreciate, because I don't feel like I'm playing a nobody. I'm playing somebody that I got to influence.
And
it would be really interesting if they set up a like a rando kind of thing where you could come in and select like pre-gen, and it randomly generates your characteristic history and whatnot, and you have to find out who you are. That would be kind of cool too.
yeah, well, it affects you get 3 options, and they affect how the start of the story plays out, where your starting zone is, almost like an MMO, where you get to pick, like, kind of almost in a degree, like...
I know where I'm starting. I already know.
Yeah.
I'm going to start Night City. I'm totally fucking starting in Night City, and I damn straight, they're going to make that one of the locations.
No, no,
Because
no.
that was one of the biggest locations.
Well, I know the 3, I just don't want to spoil them. But
What are they?
Okay.
What are they?
All right. For everyone that doesn't want to know, skip ahead like 30 seconds. You could either start as a high roller in the city working for a like top tier company, or you could start as in the slums of the city, or you can start outside of the city as something called the nomad, and then you make your way in the city. You're like running not like some kind of drug run thing outside the city. There's a whole element outside of the city that's all desert area. Almost looks like Mad Max kind of style. And then you'll lead, but they all lead you into the main story after the first hour or two, and they get you. It's like an intro to what your character is to the world.
That's a bit more rudimentary than what I was hoping.
No, it's not like I like that it affects where you start, but you obviously like in something.
What the fuck happened to the world to cause the desert outside? Because this is still in California, right?
Yeah, it's not like desert like fucking Sahara. It's like it looks like it's outside of California. There's trees and shit up and about. So it's not like...
I'm just curious because Night City, if I remember correctly, was... God, where was that? I think it was where LA used to be.
I don't know, but it just looks like typical what you would see like in outside of New Vegas kind of shit. Like just flat lands that have like little shitty trees and stuff. That's all. It's like a lot of dirt. It's not necessarily like a full-on Sahara desert, like everything's dead.
California. Night City's Northern California.
Okay, so
that's where the majority of the most of the cyberpunk lore. I mean, obviously there's source books and shit released for other areas, and you can set it anywhere. Night City was where a lot of the canon story came from, like all the novels that were released, comic books and shit. Most of that takes place in Night City, which is a city in the free state of Northern California.
Okay. But yeah, so it's like that. But I like that they kind of basically gave like an homage to how the tabletop plays to a degree. Obviously, it's not going to be to that level of like creative expression, obviously, because they still have to tell a certain story and they're going for a certain narrative. I just think it's kind of cool. You can choose where you start. It affects what your car looks like too, and all that is pretty dope. But so they showed some of that off. They showed the people that have come out have talked about the different starts and where they started and kind of how that played out. There's one dude that I don't remember his name, but he detailed every start and how it was that led up into the main story, because he just played them all because you only got so much time with the game, and then it would affect how it even affects certain options you can make in dialogue. So say if you are a nomad, that was how you were raised, you have different things you can say in conversation that reflect that growth that you had as that character that started there. Or if you do start like up in the upper echelons kind of thing, you can do the same thing there. Like, oh, hey, I had these connections, and it affects your dialogue choices that way as well. So there are...
The game does take place in Night City, Kyle.
What happened?
The game does take place in Night City.
Yeah, I know. The name of the whole stream was called Night City Wire. Like, you are in Night City the whole time. That's the main story where it takes place in Cyberpunk is Night City. It's just these 3 openings can do different things depending on what you pick. But that'll be the first option you give before you make your character is like, you have 3 things like, what are you? Blah, blah, or blah. And then you move into the main story. Or, well, that will choose where you start kind of thing. So I thought that was kind of cool. But it looks fucking gorgeous. And it's crazy. I saw someone do like a comparison picture of one of the trailers, and it had like what it looked like in 2010 to now. It is a world of a difference how much nicer this game looks now. It looks fucking gorgeous. And I have no clue how these things are going to run on the like original Xbox One. Like, the game's gonna be like 480p or some shit because it's gonna be chugging away, and the PlayStation will take off in your room because it's got fucking jet fans in it for some reason. And they announced the anime. They talked about Brain Dance. They showed off some gameplay. They had the dudes talking. They had the lead quest designer kind of talking. See, he seemed like a fucking cinnamoroll of a dude. Just loved his job, and he was talking about like the scenarios that they were bringing up and how much they enjoyed the stories they were able to tell. And it seems like there'd be stories telling all like different aspects of like the cyberpunk genre, whether it comes from like consciousness and the soul to like issues with private corporations running the cities and stuff all like that. So I'm just very excited to see just every single story that they attempt to tell and all the side stuff you can do. It just looks fucking dope, and I cannot wait for this game to come out. It's going to be 100% my game of the year just because it's just something that's so close to my heart and what I do enjoy. And I hope they'll kick it out of the park. The only thing, I watched SkillUp's video on it because I really like how honest he is with what he talks about. He didn't particularly like the way the Braindance controlled, but the one that they show off and the one that they play is a tutorial. So he was saying himself he's not too sure how it may open up later, if you'll get more like visual layers, or if like it just felt slow and clunky because they were trying to explain to you how everything worked for your first time using it and all that other stuff. So, but he said he liked the gunplay. He liked everything felt good. The gunplay was something that kind of had him reserved initially because he didn't know how well Project Red was going to be able to do the gunplay. But he said he feels like they did really good. This is a lot of choices. He felt like the hacking itself was kind of a lot of what I've heard from people is that this game feels like it's overbearing. There's a lot that they throw at you at once, which is
good.
Yeah, which is something that I think is good out the gate. It's just the type of game that I enjoy, but I could easily see there's also something to be said about how well someone can ease you into a story as well. So some people may take it as a con. I personally take it as a positive. I like being dropped into a world that has all these systems going on where you almost need like a fucking strategy guide to know what you need to do, because that means replayability, boys. And I don't know how many times I'm going to fucking replay through this game.
That's the way old computer games used to be. There'd be massive number of systems and things you could do and no instructions.
Yeah. Oh, I can. I didn't know what the fuck I was gonna say. I just lost that train of thought immediately. Derailed. Fucking tracks exploded. But I'm personally.
It was like playing the first arena game. Like you have like no help. You don't know where you're supposed to go, what you're supposed to be doing. Some of the old Elder Scrolls games, not Elder Scrolls, or Ultima games were like that. The Magic Candle series was like that. Like it was this top-down, I guess you could say 16-bit style RPG game, but you could literally do almost anything. You could light buildings on fire. You could create bombs, annihilate children, fucking summon monsters. Like you could do just about anything you wanted to do, but the only certain things would be in service to the game. But you had to figure all that shit out. Or what was that garbage MMO where you had no idea what you're supposed to be doing, so people just kind of milled about and did it until they figured it out. Real ugly one.
Escape?
Yeah, RuneScape.
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing. They just kind of dropped everyone in. But
well,
yeah, definitely.
Figure it out. Goodbye.
Yeah, I don't think overbearing is necessarily a negative, and SkillUp wasn't. Well, SkillUp I don't think even said that. I think it was other like just journalists, and we know how that is. There are people calling for easier modes for Sekiro not too long ago, so we know the kind of environment we're in.
Cyberpunk, a game made by a black guy. By the way, Cyberpunk, like the biggest white genre there is. Like, I mean, all the characters have traditionally been Caucasian, or sometimes Asian. It's commonly portrayed with a shitload of white people. I was written by a black guy, a hardcore Cyberpunk fan, a guy who loved Philip K. Dick and loved William Gibson and fucking wrote the Cyberpunk RPG, tabletop RPG. Something I knew, which why when they started accusing the Cyberpunk world of being racist and shit, and knowing that he was working so closely with CD Projekt Red. I was just waiting for this dude to riff on them, and when he did, it was fucking a sight to behold.
Cool. Yeah, so definitely Cyberpunk excitement is at an all-time high. I am personally very excited for November to roll around, and I cannot wait. I'm deciding whether or not I will upgrade my computer and get a new card by the time the game comes out to try and experience it in its full RTX 4K glory. But we'll see what happens at that time. We'll see where we're looking financially. I don't know if that will be a possibility. Worst comes worst, I'll still be able to play it. And that's the thing I truly care about. A game could be absolutely fucking gorgeous, but it's boring as shit, then it won't sit with me as well. I think the gameplay is going to be probably the part that will keep me around. But the visual design of this game looks fucking gorgeous. Not even like the actual like consistency of the models or stuff like that, but just the art design, the way the buildings look, the way they just slap neon lights on everything and shit like that. It's just one of the staples of like that kind of a kind of cyberpunk story. But it just looks so good in art design. Like, I'm not even talking about just how the graphical fidelity, but just the way the city is designed, the way the interiors are designed, just the way everything looks screams like cyberpunk. I also was getting like a heavy kind of like Neo Tokyo Akira vibe. So it just all looks fucking gorgeous, and I cannot wait to step into this world. That game is getting a day taken off from me. Might even be 2, and I might just go fucking ham. We'll have to see what happens. But
I'm down.
Oh my god, I just can't wait to get my hands on it. It looks so.
I wonder if they're
fucking
gonna have
great.
all the classes, because the main classes in the original game were rocker boys, solos, net runners. Trying to fucking remember techies.
They have tech trees. From what I've seen, there's been like skill trees, but I don't know if there's like an actual class you pick at the start. You just make your character, and you're in, and you can spec. They might have them named when you spec into those specific skill trees. So like you'll go like. You're still naming out fucking classes.
Yeah, I'm walking down memory lane. So one of them you start as a nomad, so that's done already. That's one of the ones you mentioned. The other one sounds like a corporate. And what was the third one? The slums?
Like slum. Rip that spoiler.
Fixer.
But yeah, they might have skill trees named after the classes. Like, if you're gonna like heavily spec into hacking, like they'll have that title under that skill tree or something like that, maybe. It looks like they're doing a lot to honor the world and like all the writing that has led up to allow them to make this game. So I could see them doing something like that for the tech trees or something like that. But it doesn't look like there's like an actual class system that you pick and that's what you have. It looks like you have more freedom to kind of pick and choose what you want to learn from your skill trees. But maybe you've dedicated this amount of points, so you're technically this type of class or whatever. But you're not like stuck to that class if you pick it, kind of thing. You do pick all your stats. So you have like
because I can. Well, I'll just spec myself. I'll probably be a solo. I'll spec my class out to be a solo. Solos are essentially mercenaries, or else I could be a rocker boy. That'd be pretty rad.
I think they literally have a stat called cool. Is there a cool stat in Cyberpunk, the board game?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, they have that. So I'm assuming there's a lot of homage being paid to the fucking tabletop games and the just the overall universe that they've built up to this point. Not CD Projekt, but just the people behind Cyberpunk have. So it looks fucking fantastic. And I've heard nothing but good things outside of the overbearing element, which I'm all for. Put me in a world I know nothing about. Let me figure it out. We need more games like that nowadays instead of having 4-hour tutorials and shit like that. But I'm all about it. It looks fucking awesome. And it looks like definitely one of those games you just fall into, and before you know it, 12 hours have passed, and you're starving, and your leg's falling off. You don't know what the fuck's going on. Hypothermia set in. Shit like
cool with your willpower, man.
Is it? I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah. Like a cool head. That's what cool was.
Oh. I don't know. I was looking at things, and someone had like a build that they set up for the little 5-hour session they have to play that was called a cool build. I don't know. But they were also looking because weapons have like different like different like firing methods, different stats. There's like RPG numbers to the weapons you get and stuff like that. I'm also excited to see what they do for multiplayer. Bro, imagine, Shawn, imagine they come out the gate, crossplay, cooperative multiplayer. I would coom.
I wonder how that would work, because in a deeply narrative game like this, multiplayer is very difficult. But it would be kind of interesting
It probably
if you could step into someone's world, or they could step into yours, or it could be like it could be a shared world where you're each running your own separate quests.
I think it would. It said it's being developed afterhand, so I think what it might be
game mode.
It might be what it is, where you can go into multiplayer, invite your friends into a lobby, and they'll have like scripted, like well thought out missions that will push you in an area, and then you go in with your group and do things that way. Or they'll just have like an actual like multiplayer, like where people are actually players are killing each other. I would much prefer a co-op in this type of game. Yeah,
It'd be cool if they made missions where you couldn't get through it without working as a unit. Like having a fully fledged unit, like having somebody who's modded out for hacking and somebody who's modded out for combat, and et cetera, and then you taking a specific role and then working to support each other. Here's the hacker hacking the system, and the fixie giving you got a fixer in there, maybe giving everybody drugs for drug buffs. A solo and a fucking like a rocker boy, or a fucking a nomad in there for combat, some shit like that.
it would be interesting.
Or being able to pick a team, and even if they did it like I don't know, man. Like, it'd be cool if you could bring your own character, but even if it was very scripted events from Cyberpunk lore, and it was like a 4-man squad, and so you start off with a set. You're just given like this snippet from this story, like when these 4 guys raided a corporate vault or something.
Yeah, it'd be like a little almost like kind of like how what is their name? The people that made Dishonored, like how they make levels where they're very open. They have a lot of ways to do things, and it's just like this big open area. You got to get in, kill someone, steal something, do something like that. And if you have a hacker, he can do stuff with the tech in the room, or if you have someone that could just go in guns blazing to make noise while people sneak in another area to disable security somewhere, something like that, like where it's set up like that multi-layered kind of system. Yeah, I don't know. We could sit here and kind of daydream about it, but at the end of the day, it might be something infinitely more disappointing than what we're expecting. I don't know. I think it'd be kind of cool if you can bring your character in, or maybe even have it where you can bring your character in, and if you pick a role that chooses what your gear looks like, but you still have your character, who they look like, or what they look like, or what kind of changes you've made to them, and then they'll just fit that role for that specific run, and then you can always switch it. Maybe they all have different like trees they level up on their own, kind of like GTFO or like Payday or something like that, where you could level up that role by itself and get more upgrades for it, or something along those lines. I have no idea what they haven't said shit.
Years to make a character. Like, I'm gonna be at that for fucking hours. I'm not looking forward to that. That's the worst part about games, is me making a character. I'm like, no, it's not perfect. Nose is a little too crooked, or the nose isn't crooked enough.
Bro, my problem, I'm at like a completely different kind of impasse, but it's still an impasse. Like, I don't know if I want to make a girl because they say you fuck. I don't want to get fucked, Shawn. What if someone fucks me?
Just put yourself in the guy's shoes while she's getting fucked.
I don't know if you get that option. Everything's in first person, so it's just me laying with my titties bouncing around. I'm getting banged, and I'm like, I don't like this.
There were scenes that would be third person.
That's true. I don't know, Shawn. I don't want to get 40 hours into the game and sit there, and all of a sudden I'm the one getting fucked on the bed. That's no bueno for me, dog.
I don't know. For me, like, I can only go so far into the shoes of what it's like to be female, and I think that maybe that might be slightly more than some folks, but I still don't think that's realistic enough for me to play a female character and 100% understand everything that she would be going through. So I will definitely be playing a dude.
If it's, I think the other issue, since it's like they said, it's mostly first person, I won't be seeing the girl much outside of like cutscenes or whatever ones that do zoom out of the character. So maybe it would just be better to have a dude because I'll never be seeing them. If I was seeing them all the time, it's a different story because then I'm not in that person's shoes. I'm more of just controlling their narrative kind of thing. But if you're always in their shoes as the first person, then I won't even really feel like a girl. I'll just sound like one until I'm getting fucked on the couch. So then I'm just I don't know what to go. I gotta slap my boner down because I'm freaking out. I don't know, man. That's
I
gonna be
think
a very hard decision. When
you'll be fine.
no, I won't be. That's gonna be the 5 hours. I'll have the character done, and I'll be sitting on the gender menu thinking like, damn, I'll be a boy or a girl.
Dick or no dick?
I better be able to have like cybernetic pubes or some shit because they said there was 5 pube options. I need a cybernetic one in there. I can control my pubes with my mind, bro.
They had there's a lot of fucking just visual cybernetics. I'm
Yeah,
hoping
I
they
saw
allow
that.
you to get fangs and wolvers because I made surprising usage of wolvers when I was playing Cyberpunk. I almost always got those.
I know you make your teeth pink. All that.
Why the fuck would I want to be 6'9"? No.
I don't know. Oh, I
No,
don't
I'm
know.
no vamps are vampire fangs.
Yeah, I know that. I've
They
heard
did
that.
like 6 damage or some shit like that if you bit somebody. And wolvers are called wolverines because it's an homage to Wolverine, but they're pop out claws.
Hmm.
I think there's 2 per hand if I remember correctly.
I've heard that the character customization itself isn't like as robust as something you would see in like what's it called, like Black Desert, where there's like actual face molding. You'll have like a bunch of presets that you fit together, kind of thing, and then you can do your clothes and all that. But they still said it's still pretty good. It's just not something you would see in like again Black Desert, where it's like you can literally sit there and make any character that's ever existed and recreate them in that game. But they're really above the rest with their character creator, Black Desert
I
Online.
go play Black Desert. Next thing you know, I'm running around as Rem.
Yeah, you can do that. I see there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos of people just recreating anime characters, actors in Black Desert Online. It's fucking
I can't even imagine how much work that would take.
you would have to like really fully understand that system. You like make something like that. Crazy. But
Well, I just looked up Rem in Black Desert.
did you find something? Red?
Yeah, but it's horrific.
Yeah, it won't be exact because it's anime to 3D, right? So you're not gonna. Oh, someone made 2B. Oh, that looks fire.
But they made Rem like super busty. It doesn't look right at all.
Oh my
She
god.
looks like she's 24 and she's got giant fucking boobs and
Yeah,
hips. Like she's got Marilyn Monroe shit kicking.
yeah. There'll be
It
some.
does not look right at all. Like she should be like 2 feet shorter and not ginorma boobed. And then somebody did a Rem and Ram duo.
What
Not
about
good.
this? Oh, that's an actual cosplayer. Never mind. That looks really good. Damn, she got that thing where the tights are really tight, so it makes the fat from the thigh kind of overflow. That's
Just a
that
little
Thai
bit.
Roiki shit. Ooh.
Wow, the 2B looks good.
Yeah, it does. Oh wow, I'm just in images and I've scrolled way too far, and there's like little kid pictures. Okay, hey, Black Desert Online, I see you. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, that's
Game's
weird.
pretty good, except for the free to play version.
It's all free to play. It's
Wh-
it's like
whatever.
it's like pay for
When you do
improvements.
the subscription thing, it's normal.
Yeah, we're just
It's
like
like a normal demo.
yeah. It's still very
It's also
heavily. It's
really
still
appealing as I've
it's
ever seen.
it's stupid grindy. I played it for a certain amount.
There's lightning. Somebody did lightning. It's not bad. Why I'm getting sidetracked with what the fuck is that?
Okay, should wrap things up here. Oh my goodness.
Because no, all I see is Prolibus's hit MMORPG Black Desert Online, which recently released in North America and Europe, has received a quote beautifying quote nude mod treatment,
Ooh.
and it gets a whole fucking story. And then the first fucking comment is need more detail down below right now.
Yeah. Please download link in description, please. But
I can has?
go ahead and wrap things up. Jesus Christ.
What is wrong with you, human race? What is wrong with you?
That's Faye. People are gonna be horny, let them be horny. As long as not hurt anybody. But we appreciate them for tuning in. We thank you guys for hanging out with us. Let us know what you guys think about what we talked about. Inclusion in video games. Cyberpunk. You guys excited for Cyberpunk? Let us know what you guys think. What you think about Last of Us. If you guys want to hear more about Last of Us and you did not listen to last week's episode, we did a full deep dive on Last of Us last week. So, full review, talking about the game, everything. It's in last week's episode. It's literally titled "We Need to Talk About The Last of Us."
Also,
2.
I just looked at the images from the nude mod, and they're astoundingly good.
Go check.
No,
out.
I mean just like the amount of work that went into.
Go check out the dude
don't
mod for Pearl Abyss's Black Desert. We're endorsing that right here.
That, well, maybe, I don't know. I wasn't expecting it to look. I expected more tackiness. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Anyway, fuck nude mods. Hugs and kisses and all your pink parts.
Yes. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're gonna wrap it up tonight. I shall leave you all with a thought. On average, Americans' favorite smell is banana.